All right, boys, it's that time of the season. January rolls around, and you know what time it is? It's the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League, but this weekend we get to talk about the FA Cup. My name is James. I support Arsenal. That's Brad. He supports Chelsea. Brad is Sean. He supports Tottenham. And joining us this week, as always, is Joel, Newcastle United supporter. Joel, hello. Thank you again for sticking around. I hope we didn't beat you up too much in the last episode. So we definitely...
I think it was quite the opposite.
yes, it was.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So, FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. I think the FA Cup is great. I think Arsenal need to win it again this year so that we can keep Manchester United at bay in terms of the overall total number of wins. Manchester United, I think, is either tied with us or one behind us. They're creeping up on us if they're not already with us. So, which actually leads to an interesting predicament, because one of those two clubs will not be able to win the FA Cup after this weekend. We'll get into that first, but before you do, if you're new here, if you just stumbled across us, hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on one of the podcast sites, hit it with a follow, 5-star review, drop a comment. Comments are now live on Spotify. Our intern didn't tell us if there were any Spotify comments this week. Maybe there were, I don't know. But if you drop a comment, we will look into those. Shout them out on the podcast if they are relevant. And watch the end, share it with a friend. Really does help us out tremendously. But as I said, Arsenal hosting Manchester United in round 4 of the FA Cup. This is, I don't know if this is a good one, a bad one. I don't know what to think of this.
What did y'all do?
I don't know.
Like what has made... You got the frozen envelope thing. That's a reference to 90s basketball, but they just happened to pick United. This, all the calls this year, the time wasting, you're getting ghost red cards, and then this, you're supposed to be playing
Salford.
Who gives a crap FC, and you're supposed to go make them a lot of money, and then that's the joy of, and then you win the game, and then you move on. That's like the joy of this part. Yeah.
Spurs have Tamworth.
Just for the sake of it, I re-pulled up the satellite view of their stadium, and I am reconfirming that should our team bus pull into their parking lot, there is not enough room to turn around. So they're going to have to back in to drop our team off.
Oh man, I need to watch that game just for the kick of it. I think Paramount Plus has the FA Cup in America. Is it still ESPN?
It's still ESPN.
Okay.
ESPN.
Well, that's good. Though sometimes they don't carry all the 4th round games, which is annoying. But we'll see. Okay, so Arsenal United. Obviously we annoyed somebody at the FA. Or maybe United annoyed somebody at the FA. I'm not sure which. Obviously should be a good game. Arsenal will want to have a... maybe get the sour taste of cup football out of their mouth after the defeat at home against Newcastle in the EFL Cup semifinal. United are coming off what seems like a victory, but was only a draw away at Liverpool in the league last weekend. So maybe both teams are up for it. I don't know what to think of it, because United always play much better against Arsenal than any other team in the league.
James, would you want Arsenal to go full strength? Because you got Spurs just a few days later.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird question, because I'm not necessarily sure that we have enough depth right now to really rotate too heavily. We played Rice, Partey, Odegaard, I think for 90 minutes in the EFL Cup. I'm not sure if any of them came off. Well, Jorginho came on at some point, so maybe it was Partey that came off, probably. But I would expect to see Mikel Merino come in the midfield. Odegaard's obviously playing. But we'll probably see
I think it would be more likely that you guys would go full team and then rest a little bit against Spurs, because we're not going to be healthy. So it's not going to be first full team versus first full team. You know
Arsenal would They're in a title race. Liverpool are ahead, but they're still in a title race. They have to prioritize. They're going to prioritize one of the games. It has to be Spurs.
Yeah, well, it's. I think that you'll see more rotate. I think if you think about our squad right now, if you think that the EFL Cup was indicative of our what Arteta sees as our strongest lineup right now, then I think that's probably what we'll play against Spurs. So I think that Gabriel Jesus comes in for Havertz. I think that either one of Martinelli or Trossard starts, and then Sterling probably starts on the right. Odegaard plays. I think Mikel Merino comes in. I think Rice probably starts the game. Maybe it's Jorginho. Mikel Merino, Odegaard. Maybe Kivior comes in for Gabriel to give him a break. But I mean, like, we don't have any depth right now at right back. Calafiori didn't play against Newcastle, so maybe Calafiori comes in. Zinchenko's healthy. You could see Zinchenko starting maybe. And Kivior, I think Saliba probably starts. I think Timber probably starts. You could see Neto in goal. Probably Neto plays in goal just because he's the cup keeper that was cup tied in the EFL Cup, so he probably plays there. But also Arteta is very weird about keepers, so it's possible he just plays Raya unless Raya is injured. I don't know.
I just think if Arsenal go full strength like they did in the EFL Cup, or pretty much full strength, and then get an Odegaard, get a Saliba injury, and out for Spurs, like Arteta won't hear the end of it.
Yeah, I mean,
fans will be fuming.
I think the problem is that if it was anybody other than Manchester United, because if you look at the hierarchy of Arsenal supporter dislike, it's Spurs 1A, Manchester United 1B, for most Arsenal supporters, not me personally. But yeah, it's a tough 4-day stretch going from Arsenal from United to Tottenham. I definitely think there's some rotation. I'm not sure. I don't think it's super extreme, but there's certainly some amount of rotation.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be for sure.
The question is whether or not there's any United rotation and what they do. I think that Ruben Amorim probably puts all of his eggs in this basket and tries to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, so he's got to.
I expect to see a full strength Manchester United team, whatever that means.
Or the Europa League. He's got the Europa League too.
I guess so.
Yeah. Either way, tie of the round.
I think so. And the other honorable mention for matchup in the Premier League is Villa West Ham United. And you would think that wouldn't be a good game, because you would think that Aston Villa would just kind of curb stomp West Ham and move on with their life. But we all know that Unai Emery has zero interest in domestic cups. We saw it, especially the FA Cup. We saw it his time at Arsenal. We saw it last year with Villa. So I expect to see a heavily rotated Aston Villa side. I think West Ham could do a job in this game.
And they might have that new manager bounce then.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's been announced yet, but there are heavy rumors that they will be having a new manager very soon, and it is the former Brighton manager, former Chelsea manager, Graham Potter, taking over for, I can't pronounce his name. Lopetegui. I
should have let you say it first.
You should have, because I was gonna
Luigi Tegui, whatever.
Yes.
Generally look at games like this through the lens of who wants it more. And so when you look at upcoming games, when you look at where they are in the standings, that's kind of how I try to shape the lens in which I view the game in. West Ham are 14th. Their only shot at making this season anything is a FA Cup run. They've got to pour everything they've got into this. While I know you mentioned Emery just generally has disdain for the domestic cups.
He does.
They're 8th and 4 points off of 4th. I think his eye's on that. So I agree with you on a different front other than Unai Emery's feelings. And West Ham have gotten absolutely thumped the last 2 games. They got a 5-0 from Liverpool and a 4-1 from City. So taking those 2 on the chin and the desire to want to make a cup run are probably they're going to be full out. I think so. I agree. This is going to be a pretty good game. It's going to be class versus want to. Mm-hmm. Class versus will.
Hey, also don't forget West Ham did win a European trophy a couple years ago.
True.
So maybe trying to get back to.
They should put the star above the logo like Nottingham Forest do.
I mean, that would be. I mean, if West Ham won the cup, it would be an incredible feat for them. Finish 12th, win the cup, you're in the Europa League, and that's a great season for them. That's a fantastic winning any trophy for a team like West Ham in a season is obviously. I mean, honestly, winning a trophy for any team is good. So West Ham would be ecstatic winning the FA Cup. A couple games here. Manchester City versus Salford. Now, the reason why I highlighted this one because I think it's very funny because Gary Neville is part of the co-owner. It's like the Manchester United class of '92 got together and bought a football club at Salford.
Exactly.
It's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, do we think it would be so very funny if Salford beat Man City, right?
Oh, it'd be amazing. It'd be hilarious. They'd get revenge on how many losses have they had in a row? How many years has City been above United in the
in the league?
Yeah, at least 5.
10? I don't know.
Probably.
It's probably been 10 or 12 years since United finished above Man City. When Fergie left in 13?
Yeah, it's been at least
11, probably 11 years.
Yeah.
Because he won in his final year, didn't he? He won in 13.
Yes.
And then he retired. And then Louis van Gaal came in, and they were not as good anymore. Not as good anymore. The referees sometimes, for whatever reason, just stopped giving them calls in the 85th minute and beyond.
Fun context that I didn't know before, but Salford is actually just a suburb of Manchester.
Yeah,
their stadiums can't be more than 10 miles apart.
Exactly. Salford is a Manchester team.
Maybe it's a little farther, but it can't be more than 15 miles apart.
Another fun fact: Old Trafford is actually in Salford.
Yes.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, and the City Ground, or what the City of Manchester Stadium, which is now the Etihad Stadium, is actually in Manchester proper. And Manchester City fans like to tell United supporters that they're not actually in Manchester. Yeah. So we think of Manchester United as this great Manchurian institution, and they're not actually in Manchester. Mm-hmm. So, Brad, what do you got for your tie?
Morecambe, which hold on, I should probably do the same thing that
they're on the coast.
We're playing at Stamford Bridge, so never mind. Morecambe's bus will fit just fine. I don't have to worry about it. Huh?
Morecambe.
Yeah.
They're on the coast north of Blackpool.
I'm so glad we brought Joel on for this. For me to just mangle the English language and say it American.
I specifically let you.
I know.
Let you do that.
I know exactly what you did.
You put an extra syllable in there. That was
Morecambe. He made them an Italian team.
Morecambe? Was it Morecambe?
Morecambe. That's it.
Morecambe?
I prefer Morecambe. We should fly you over, take you to Morecambe, and just say, "Hey, my first time in Morecambe. What's around?"
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Who's the guy of the pasta in Morecambe?
They are the shrimps, though, which is delightful. I do like a good shrimp.
I do like shrimp. We can have a shrimp boil.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Not right now. I'm currently using my shrimp boil.
It's a little cold. Week of the season. A little cold in Virginia for that right now.
We've got Salford, and for your viewing, we've got. Sorry, I got distracted. We've got Tamworth, and for your viewing pleasure, I have copied and pasted a screen grab into the Talking Points chat so that you can see Just what I was talking about the parking lot, and I don't think a bus could turn around in that. And if there is a distinct possibility with the quality at our back line that if a center back takes a shot, it will land on a highway.
I love that.
You got the A513 right there.
This is why the FA Cup is so great.
This is right here.
We are posh Premier League fanboys, especially the three of us who support London clubs. Like we're Americans. We're like transplants into the sport, and of course the three of us selected London clubs and like big London clubs at that. And so like we're like, oh yeah, the Premier League's the best league in the world, and blah blah. But like the FA Cup actually gets to like you get to see England and see English football for what it is, and get out of our posh, Premier League ivory towers and go play on some pitches that have craters in them, and they hold an inch of water, and you're playing next to a primary school.
The fans are 2 feet from the line.
Oh yeah. There's a point of Tamworth Stadium that you could at the northwest corner here, you could stand in the parking lot and watch the game.
That's fantastic.
You're taking a look at that picture. Yeah,
love to see it. You love to see it. So that's a good one. Newcastle Bromley.
Bromley's.
There's not a whole lot to talk about with Newcastle. Newcastle, it's the FA Cup. They could lose. You don't know. They lost to Cambridge United a couple of years ago at home.
What happens though? Because you're on a really big high for Newcastle right now. They're doing well in the league. They're probably into the Carabao Cup final. What happens if they get bounced in the round of 4? Like, how does that change your opinion on the season?
Third round.
This is the third round. Okay.
Third round, yeah. It's very possible. You never know what's going to happen. I actually do think one of, not you specifically, James, but I think one of Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea, or Liverpool, Accrington Stanley, because that's also quite an interesting game. I think one of us will lose and get knocked out. I don't think we're all going through. It's going to happen.
I like how both of you guys are like, please let it be us. The pessimism kicks in.
I don't want it to be us.
We just can't win. What do you mean we can't win a game?
I just made fun of their stadium for 5 minutes. It's definitely going to be us. The karma.
This to me seems like Cole Palmer is going to score like 8 goals. 5 of them are going to be penalties, and Chelsea supporters are going to be like, man, look how great Cole Palmer is.
If Cole Palmer plays any minutes in this game, I will be mad. I don't care what the result is. If Cole Palmer plays 1 minute in this game, I will be mad.
Do you only want Cole Palmer to play in the Premier League? That's all you want him to do?
And now that we're into the round of 16 of the Conference League, you can play in that too.
You don't want him going to Morecambe. You don't want him going to Kazakhstan. I mean, you're babying this kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let the boy play football.
Yes.
Let him play some football.
No.
That's an interesting shout, Joel, that you think that one of the big boys is going to get knocked out.
Are they always, though?
It's the FA Cup. It's going to happen.
I just
if I had to bet, it will be Spurs getting knocked out by Tamworth, just because they're the away team.
Okay.
If I had to bet,
that happens, right?
Yes. He's not. Yes. They're leaving him in Tamworth. I can tell.
He's stay at the stadium.
The big boy getting knocked off is going to be Arsenal.
Hey, I wonder if
probably.
So I'm looking at the Tamworth Football Club crest. I actually had to Google it because it didn't show up on Google, so I had to go past Google to find it. I wonder how the pretzels are there. If it's
he went
in
to
the
Wikipedia.
crest, I did 100%. I went to Google, which took me to Wikipedia, which then showed me that there is a pretzel on their crest. So Tamworth, so Spurs fans in the comments, please let us know. A, do they sell pretzels there? B, are the pretzels any good? I feel like it's got to be a top tier pretzel if it's on the crest.
This isn't actually. I made fun of the stadium. This is an elite level crest. Like you don't get crests like this anymore. We got a shield, we got a banner above and below. Like this is elite level crest work.
I forgot that Sean was the crest raider. He goes around England raiding everyone's crest.
Everybody keeps updating their stupid. They go to these new crests. Like look Look at Joel's. That's a great crest. Yeah, that's dumb.
Look at the cannon that they put on all the Arsenal jerseys.
The classic ones are the great ones. The Manchester City's got a ship or something. It's an homage to like the 50s.
They used to have. Aren't they taking the ship away? Like they're. Like,
I thought they were going back to it.
I hope.
Sean, you'd like Bromley's as well. The Newcastle player. And look at Bromley's. You'd appreciate that one.
So Brad, I see.
We actually have a crest.
I see here, Brad, in the talking points while we're looking at Bromley's crest, that you have a question here about Graham Potter. Now you were positing that Graham Potter is going to be the West Ham manager, but for some reason you have West Ham or Everton ? Do you think your boy Sean Dyche, who is the Premier League manager of the year last year, is going to get sacked?
So Sean Dyche said, yeah, my position is probably unattainable with the new owners coming in. Or he said something to those regards, that his position is being questioned with the new owners coming in. So this is the question for the pod. If you are Graham Potter and you could pick between West Ham 2 years ago, 2 years ago, won a European trophy, are scrambling to hopefully not fall into this relegation race, or Everton, a classically good team, a team that has new owners.
Does man say Everton were classically good?
Compared to the Hammers, I would say
he's saying they have history of being good. They have history.
Yeah,
I would agree with you that they have history in the Premier League, but being good is
okay. Or with new owners, new stadium, which club would you pick?
I think this is a no-brainer personally, but I'll let you guys think about it for a second.
I don't think if I'm putting my hatred for Everton aside, if I'm neutral to both clubs, I'm picking Everton.
I think I want Everton too.
I think you are terribly wrong.
You're talking. All right, so me and James have both been through a new stadium debt situation. They're not signing crap for a couple of years, even with new owners. So, yeah, I wouldn't go to Everton. West Ham have their stadium. Their owners have shown a propensity to spend and support a manager. That's absolutely where I'm going.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the history.
Interestingly enough, I looked at a chart recently of like the top 10 most attended football, which clubs have the best attendance in the world, and West Ham are like 7th on that list.
It's because they're playing in the Olympic Stadium.
Sure, who cares? But people come.
Money.
Spurs were playing at Wembley a few years ago.
Yeah.
Charlotte FC.
They didn't sell it out. They didn't sell it out. They didn't sell out Wembley.
Charlotte FC sells out Bank of America almost every time they open the top level.
I'm just saying, I think it's West Ham. I agree with all of Sean's points. Like they've been in Europe recently. They won a European Cup recently. They have owners that want to spend money, that want West Ham to be in Europe every year. They already have the stadium figured out. They've got bubbles. I mean,
you sold it.
Bubbles, man.
I forgot about the bubbles.
The bubbles are pretty. I mean, they got Green Street Hooligans as their like cult film. I'm just saying.
If my bubble gun, I have a bubble gun that you just squeeze a trigger and bubbles come out. If that were inside, I'd go get it right now.
You'd probably get arrested if you had that in England, but
just bubbles. Just bubbles. Just bubbles.
You know.
It doesn't matter what you call Mr. Bubbles there.
Check the mag, Constable. There is only soap and water in there, buddy.
Do you have any in the chamber? Anyway.
Yeah. And getting close to you, sir, Mr. Constable, you may need to use some of the soap and water.
Constable. I don't justify Everton to me. Justify why Everton would be a better fit or better.
I just think I don't know. I haven't followed the new owners with Everton a whole lot. I don't know who they are, but I've seen from Newcastle, the new owners can change everything. And
interesting perspective.
No.
Timeout.
All the richest owners in the world.
This is a country, not one's a country, one's an investment group.
Okay, sure. Well, technically, PIF are an investment group.
Yes, true. Very true.
Founded by a country.
Well, if we're being technical, PIF are an investment group.
I mean, so is Blueco. Yeah, so is Blueco. Blueco's an investment
group. I just think new owners don't just bring money, it brings a complete fresh start and outlook, and I think that can change it doesn't matter if Saudi didn't buy Newcastle, just different owners and invested, everything would still be changed in Newcastle. And so I think the same can and probably will happen for Everton.
I think the likelihood. Okay, let me ask you this: how frequently do we see new owners come in, and within 5 years? Because it hasn't even been 5 years yet for Newcastle, but within 5 years, they are to the level that Newcastle are at now, consistently challenging in the top half, occasionally being in the Champions League, like fighting for a trophy, like Newcastle, for all intents and purposes at this point, are fighting for European football every year, are making cup runs. Like that's an aberration. It took City a number of years before they got to the point that they're at. Obviously, it happened at Chelsea because Roman Abramovich changed football, and football changed after Roman Abramovich. It didn't happen at Arsenal with KSE. It didn't happen at United with the Glazers. It didn't happen at Liverpool with Fenway. Like it took all of these new ownership groups a number of years before they got to, and some of them are still failing. Like look at the Glazers.
I'm not saying a new owners means success right away, but I do think a new project, a new start, it would be exciting for a manager to come into.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
I think if I don't know much about them, but if they money, getting a good, solid manager in place changes everything. You've got Sean Dyche who hates football. He hates football. And so get a manager who likes football, and everything can change.
I think that's a very fair point that Joel's making. In my mind, went in a little bit different direction. I'm going to give James a second to laugh. Is that the new owner's first manager? They're going to be the most hesitant in their tenure to fire. They want to be right the first time. And then once they fire the first manager, all the other managers will be easier to fire. But more likely than not, you would feel as the first manager, that owner's going to be like, no, I got this right. We're going to, you'll get extra rope. You'll get extra rope and leash on that one to if it's not going well. Okay, well, I haven't given you enough tools. I just got started. Let me fix this. Let me fix this. All right, now let's see. You know what I mean?
How well did that go for Pochettino?
Oh, well, that's a different animal altogether. That's Chelsea Football Club.
But it's new owner. No, you new owner. You got to operate with new set of.
Poch wasn't the first. Poch wasn't the first.
Yes, he was.
What you should have said was.
Yes, he. They inherited Thomas Tuchel. They inherited Tuchel.
They didn't hire Graham Potter.
Oh, did they hire Graham Potter?
They did hire Graham Potter. Graham Potter was the first they hired.
Oh, that's right. I forgot entirely about that.
So
they sacked him after 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like 5 minutes later they sacked him.
After like a 5-year contract. That's why homie hasn't signed. This is why he's finally signed to West Ham. Homie's been chilling off of that pay.
Another reason why I hate Chelsea. They, just anyway.
I mean, but at the same time, like 2021, they were a top 10 football club. So like it wasn't far away that it's not like some distant past that Everton.
What did they do in 2019, Brad?
I got you. They were 8th and 12th.
8th and 12th?
Sorry. 2019, 2020, they finished 12th. 2018, 2019, they finished 8th.
So they were distinctly mid-table.
Yeah.
And now they're a relegation fodder.
And what do we like? Okay, so and West Ham had one big cup run with David Moyes in the European Conference League. Like, look, Chelsea's gonna walk that with our like U18 team.
Clip it when Chelsea get knocked out. Clip it.
Yeah, we'll need to. We'll need to.
Like, it's silly.
Brad, you have another thing here.
I do. This one.
What is this?
Ange quotes. Wait. We had an Ange quote on last episode. I got another Ange quote for this episode. Here's what Ange says. Salah would struggle on Tottenham to be the player that he is. So let's swap Son and Salah. Pretend Son is a right winger. right? They both play in the same position, whatever position that is. We swap the two. How far does Liverpool fall?
Not at all.
Yeah, they do.
I think they do.
I don't think they fall at all.
You think Son is equivalent
I don't think,
to Salah?
do I think Son is 31 GA and January 7th? No. That is absolutely absurd.
At 33 years old?
He is another alien. Him and Erling Haaland are aliens. That is absolutely absurd. But do I think the performance of Liverpool drastically changes? Absolutely not. Son's an incredible... You couldn't name 10 players in the world better than him and Son. I legitimately feel that he's one of the most technically gifted players in the world.
Right now. Top 10 players in the world right now.
Oh, okay. Well, he is like 32, so maybe not like this current form of Son. But
Salah is 33, and he is in the top 10 in the world.
Sure. Well, yeah. I guess what I'm saying, in terms of raw talent, I think Liverpool are fine. But yes, I guess to get back to the question and think of it as right now, we swap them today, January 7th, then yeah, they're probably not as good. But
okay. So here's the follow-up question, right? How much better is Spurs with Salah?
Same.
So I think a better way to look at this would be let's posit that Mohamed Salah signed for Spurs instead of Liverpool, and Heung-min Son signed for Liverpool instead of Spurs, both at the same time. So say whenever those players signed for their club, say they signed for the other one, would they have had the same career at those clubs that they've had? I think the answer to that is no. The player that is more likely to have the career that he had is Salah.
Well, in terms of goal score, but not in terms of trophies won. You're saying if Son signed to Liverpool,
I'm just saying individual. I'm just saying individual, like things that they can do: score goals, assist goals. I think a huge part of Salah's game was definitely in that front three with Sadio Mane and Bobby Firmino. Like that was a incredible attack.
Complementing pieces, yeah, 100%.
Like they played so well together. And while Salah still scored a boatload of goals there, he also created a lot of goals there as well.
You're also talking about Harry Kane and Son are the most assisted to duo in the history of the Premier League. So it's not that could have been good too. That is a three. That is Harry Kane and Salah would have been a pretty darn good combo for a couple of years, and maybe we win the 2018 final. Champions League final.
Hot take, Sean. It's a better combination than Kane and Son. You would have won the Champions League.
I guess
they probably would have won the Premier League against when Leicester won it.
I guess what I'm saying is in their primes. Now Salah is defying the time father time here, but in their primes a couple years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, there's not that many people you name between Mohamed Salah and Heung-min Son. I will grant you that Salah is better, but there's not that many names in between them.
I think now there are a lot of names between them.
There are a lot, yes.
But if you rewind to when Son was Golden Boot winner or almost Golden Boot winner, you got a better argument there. I still there is a good gap between Salah and Son. Yeah. Son was an unbelievable player a few years ago when he was winning the Golden Boot, but I don't know. I just think Salah talent.
He was always second fiddle to Harry Kane at Spurs, whereas Salah was always the main guy at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I
don't think Son would have been made man at Liverpool.
Neither do I. I think it would have been Sadio Mane or Bobby Firmino probably.
Yeah, but Salah he'd just walk in and be the number one at Spurs.
Yeah, Mohamed Salah is maybe there's an argument that could be made for him being the best Premier League player of all time. I'm not making that argument personally, but there is an argument to be made.
Especially an even stronger argument if Liverpool win the league this year.
Yeah,
and he carries on the way he is. Yeah, 100%.
So
I think we put it this. I think like to put a bow on everything that we're saying. Like if Salah is at Tottenham, then Harry Kane isn't the best player on that team.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
That's a
not
discussion.
true.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not
fact.
true. That's not true.
The two people who are defending Harry Kane are the Englishman and the Spurs supporter.
No. I haven't made up my mind. I'm just saying that's a really hard one to call. I don't think you can say right.
We just said he's one of the that there's an argument to be made, and you guys did not stop James. Like I might have stopped him, but like whatever, he can say it.
Well, it's because you want to defend Eden Hazard. Like you want to have this is Eden Hazard.
Listen.
Eden Hazard had a cup of coffee in the Premier League.
Ronaldo and Messi in his heyday, where Salah is compared to Hazard. I'm just saying. Either way, neither one of you stepped up to be like, well, no, I don't really think that there's an argument here, right? Like nobody's ever said that about Harry Kane. Not that he's not a great striker. Not that he's not a top 10, not that he's not in the top 10 conversation. Not that he's not in the top 15 conversation. Not that he's not a great striker, right? Like
I think Sean I think Sean would come out and tell you that Harry Kane there's an argument for Harry Kane being the greatest Premier League player of all time.
I don't see watching as many games as many minutes of his as I have. I don't know that there's a striker or a forward of any kind that affected the game in a way that he did.
I agree.
Other than Thierry Henry,
Kane could be argued to be one of the best, if not the best striker in Premier League history. But
we're saying player.
No,
right.
I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like you had the Salah is the best player on that team. If we're saying this. I think it's not as hot of a take as y'all two are thinking it is.
They're two absolute superstars, but I think Salah is probably. If I could base my team around one player between Kane and Salah, I'm probably choosing Salah.
I think it just gives you more freedom. Like you can do other things.
And that's nothing.
They're so both unbelievably world class.
And there's nothing wrong or bad with saying that about it doesn't make Harry Kane all of a sudden the worst striker ever. I mean, he did play for Tottenham, but whatever.
I think Kane's arguably, apart from Haaland, is arguably still the best striker in the world.
I'm taking Alan Shearer over Harry Kane.
Oh, in world football right now?
I just said that to get a rise out of Joel. That's the only reason I said that was because Joel's here.
Joel's had so many years of punishment because he decided to cheer for Alan Shearer on Newcastle.
He's the reason. It's paying off now. I'm not joking. Isak's the best striker in the world, not Kane.
That's a shout. I mean, you're probably
can't argue
right.
with that.
You're probably right.
At this time period, I'm not.
Victor Gyökeres at Sporting had an incredible 2024. Now the question is,
off the face of the earth.
The question is, will he be able to replicate it in 2025?
Yeah,
5 hat tricks this season.
He scored 62 goals in 63 games in the last calendar year.
That's Haaland numbers right there.
That's better than Haaland numbers. So, granted, it was in Portugal, and us Premier
Doesn't matter where it is.
Us Premier League ivory tower guys. Yeah. Anyway, we're done.
Doesn't really matter where it is.
Watch the FA Cup this weekend. It's magical. It's the greatest cup competition in the world. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy it as long as Arsenal win. And I've historically, over the last 4 years that we've been doing Red Card Radio, Arsenal have introduced this No More Red campaign and worn the all-white Arsenal jersey and then proceed to lose in round 3 or round 4. So, and then I get on the podcast and I'm like, man, the FA Cup sucks. So if on Wednesday next week I'm telling you that the FA Cup sucks, then that means Arsenal lost. But you'll have to check back in next week to see if I do that. And so you'll want to do that because we'll be back next week to break it all down for you. Until that time, hit us up on social media. Brad is at KSBradG. Sean is at Whiteheart_Sean. Joel is at JoelFindley16. I am at James Tiffany. Drop a comment. Let us know if you were Graham Potter, would you go to West Ham? Would you go to Everton? If you were Mohamed Salah, would you have produced as much at Tottenham? We would love to hear that. Check back with us next week. We'll love to see you then. But until then, have a good one. Enjoy the FA Cup.